I'm about to show you the 5 chair exercises that can dramatically reduce that hip and knee stiffness in just minutes a day. If you're over 50 and you wake up feeling like your joints need warming up, or if you notice stiffness after sitting for a while, here's what movement specialists have discovered. Gentle, controlled movements are far more effective than aggressive stretching for reducing joint stiffness. But first, let me break down what's really happening inside your hips and knees when they feel stiff, particularly after long periods of sitting. The secret lies in something called synovial fluid. Picture this fluid like a thin, slippery oil that acts as both a lubricant and a nutrient source for your cartilage. It keeps your joint surfaces gliding smoothly against each other instead of grinding. Here's what most people miss. Your body produces more of this precious fluid when your joints are active and bearing weight. But during inactive periods, like your 8 hours of sleep or that afternoon Netflix session, production slows way down and the existing fluid becomes sluggish and thick, almost like motor oil in winter. That's exactly why those initial movements feel so rigid and uncomfortable when you get up from your chair. The challenge gets bigger with age. Research reveals that as we get older, and particularly with conditions like osteoarthritis, this natural lubricant becomes less efficient and more viscous, creating more friction and that stubborn stiffness we all dread. But there's hope. Consistent, low-impact joint movement can dramatically improve how much synovial fluid you produce and how well it performs. It's like warming up that thick motor oil until it flows freely again. That's precisely why the 5 movements I'm about to show you are so effective. They guide your hip and knee joints through their intended range of motion, stimulating fluid production while respecting your body's limits. The first movement we'll focus on is seated heel sliders, which targets knee joint mobility and circulation. While sitting comfortably in your chair, place one foot flat on the floor directly under your knee. Begin by gently sliding your heel backward along the floor, bending your knee as far as feels natural and comfortable. When you reach a point where you feel mild resistance or can't slide back any further, pause and gently tap your heel on the floor 3 to 5 times. This tapping technique helps signal to your nervous system that this position is safe while encouraging slightly more range of motion. After the tapping, try sliding your heel back a little further if possible. Then return to the starting position by sliding your foot forward until your leg is straight again. The science behind this movement is fascinating. The sliding action creates gentle compression and decompression in your knee joint, which helps circulate synovial fluid like a natural pump. Additionally, the alternating muscle contractions in your thigh muscles promote blood flow, reducing any pooling or swelling that occurs during prolonged sitting. This exercise specifically benefits your knee joint capsule, quadriceps, and hamstring muscles. The gentle range of motion helps maintain the natural gliding surfaces within your knee, while preparing these large muscle groups for weight-bearing activities. Perform this movement 10 times on each leg. This exercise is most effective when done just before standing, or as a regular break during extended sitting periods. Our second movement targets the often neglected hip stabilizing muscles through a seated clamshell exercise. Begin by sitting with your feet positioned slightly narrower than your hips. Place your palms on the outer sides of your knees. For the initial phase, create gentle resistance by pressing inward with your hands while simultaneously pushing your knees outward. Apply moderate pressure, about 50% of your maximum effort, and hold this opposing force for 3 to 5 seconds. Release and repeat this 5 to 10 times. If this feels easy, we can progress to using a resistance band, which provides more consistent and effective muscle activation. Place an elastic band around your knees. Either a loop band or a regular resistance band tied in a circle works well. With the band in place, focus on opening your knees apart against the resistance, then controlling the return movement. The key is feeling that the band provides enough challenge that your muscles have to work, but not so much that the movement becomes jerky or uncomfortable. The movement science here involves activating your hip abductor muscles, primarily the gluteus medius and minimus. These muscles are crucial for pelvic stability and proper knee tracking during functional movements like standing and walking. Research shows that weak side hip muscles can lead to knee pain because your knees end up moving in ways they're not meant to, trying to keep you balanced. Strengthening these muscles helps your hips stay steady and gives your whole lower body a stronger, more stable base. Aim for 15 repetitions with the band. Doing more repetitions not only builds strength, but also trains your muscles to work together and switch on at the right time during everyday movements. The third exercise is seated hip rotations. This helps keep your hips flexible by gently moving them in a circular motion, improving how easily they can move in different directions. Here's how to do it properly. Sit comfortably in a stable chair with your back straight and your feet positioned wider than hip width apart. This wider stance provides better stability for the rotational movements. Begin with inward hip rotation by slowly moving one knee toward the opposite ankle. This creates an internal rotation at your hip joint. Hold this position briefly, then return your knee to the center starting position. Repeat this same movement with your other leg. Next, we'll work on outward hip rotation. From your wide-footed position, lean slightly forward and reach one hand toward the opposite foot, while allowing your hip to rotate outward. This external rotation movement takes your hip joint through the opposite range of motion from the previous exercise. These rotational movements are important because they work parts of your hips you don't usually use in daily life. Most of the time we move forward or backward, but our hips are built to move in all directions. This exercise works the hip joint capsule and the small, deep rotator muscles that guide and control hip movement. These muscles help keep your hips in the right position and support balance and stability in your lower body. Hip rotation is often one of the first movements to stiffen up as we age or spend too much time sitting. Moving your hips through these twists regularly helps keep them mobile and prevents stiffness in other areas. Perform these alternating rotational movements for approximately 1 minute. Keep the movement slow and controlled. Focus on gentle mobility, not forcing the stretch. The fourth movement activates your lower leg muscles and promotes circulation through seated heel raises. Position your feet flat on the floor with your ankles directly beneath your knees. Keeping your toes in contact with the ground, lift your heels as high as comfortable and hold this position for 3 full seconds. Lower your heels back down with control. This simple movement helps your body in several ways. First, it wakes up your calf muscles, which act like a second heart for your legs. When these muscles tighten and relax in a steady rhythm, they help push blood and lymph fluid back up to your heart. This prevents blood from pooling in your legs, which often happens when you sit for long periods. Second, this movement gets your ankle joints and calf muscles ready for standing and walking. You can think of it as a gentle warm-up for the muscles that will soon carry your body weight and push you forward as you move. The exercise works your two main calf muscles, the gastrocnemius and the soleus, along with the smaller muscles in your feet. All of these muscles work together to keep you steady and give you power when you walk. Complete 10 repetitions, holding each lift for the full 3 seconds. That hold is key because it lets your muscles work at their best and gives you the most circulation benefits. Our final exercise addresses the muscle tightness that develops from prolonged sitting through a seated knee-to-chest stretch. While maintaining an upright posture in your chair, grasp one knee with both hands. If gripping the top of your knee causes discomfort, place your hands behind your thigh instead. This modification is often more comfortable for people with knee sensitivity. Gently draw your knee toward your chest until you feel a mild stretch sensation in the back of your thigh and hip area. Hold this position briefly, focusing on the feeling of length in these muscles, then lower your leg back to the starting position. This movement focuses on the muscles that get short and tight when you sit for too long. Your hip flexors, hamstrings, and glutes. Sitting keeps these muscles in a bent position, and over time they adjust to that posture. This is why standing up after sitting for a while can feel stiff or uncomfortable. The stretch helps these muscles return to their normal length and boosts blood flow to the area. It also moves your hip joint gently into flexion, which is the opposite of the extended position your hip stays in while sitting. From your nervous system's point of view, this gentle stretch helps reset muscle spindles, tiny sensors in your muscles that track how long or short they are. By slowly lengthening these muscles, you're telling your body and brain that this movement is safe and can be used without discomfort. Perform 10 repetitions on each leg for a total of 30 movements. Focus on smooth, controlled motion rather than trying to pull your knee as close as possible to your chest. Now that you've learned all 5 exercises, you have a complete toolkit for maintaining joint health during prolonged sitting. These 5 movements work together to address the main areas that become stiff and uncomfortable when we sit for extended periods. But before I show you how to put them all together, there's something important I need to warn you about. There's one common approach that many people use to deal with leg discomfort from sitting, and it might actually be making your stiffness worse without you realizing it. After sitting, many people are advised to elevate their feet. While this can provide temporary relief, staying in this position for more than 1 to 2 hours can actually backfire. Yes, the swelling might decrease slightly, but remaining motionless for greater than 2 hours causes your synovial fluid to thicken, ultimately increasing stiffness when you do try to move again. This is particularly problematic for those with knee or hip arthritis. Remember our motor oil analogy? When you stay completely still for too long, that synovial fluid crystallizes and becomes thick, making movement more difficult. This is why I remind everyone of 2 simple rules. Motion is lotion, and rest is rust. If elevation helps you, that's fine. Just be sure to take brief movement breaks every 45 to 60 minutes to perform these lubricating exercises before returning to your elevated position. Your joints will thank you, and you'll avoid that cycle where prolonged stillness creates more stiffness, which then makes you want to move even less. Now, how often should you do these exercises? The beauty of these chair exercises is that you can do them anytime you are sitting for long periods of time, whether you're watching TV, working at your desk, or traveling. These exercises can seamlessly fit into your routine without requiring you to change clothes or find special equipment. The key is to move regularly throughout the day, not just in one long workout. Your joints produce synovial fluid more effectively with frequent, gentle movement than with rare bursts of intense activity. So there you have it, 5 simple chair exercises that work with your body's natural joint lubrication system to reduce hip and knee stiffness, plus the one mistake to avoid that can make stiffness worse. Remember, your joints are designed to move, and gentle, frequent movement is the key to maintaining that smooth, comfortable mobility you want. Next time you'll be sitting for a while, set a reminder to take these movement breaks. Your joints will reward you with easier standing, smoother walking, and less of that frustrating stiffness. Small, consistent movements throughout your day can make a remarkable difference in how you feel and move. I'm curious, have you noticed that forcing stretches sometimes makes you feel tighter the next day? Share your experience in the comments below. I love hearing about your discoveries with these gentler approaches. If you love this approach to stiffness, subscribe for more videos that work with your body's natural healing. Just click subscribe below.